Mario is arguably the face of Nintendo. Knowing this fact, you'd think he would have amazing representation in Smash, with nods everywhere to every corner of his history, right? Unfortunately, however, this is not the case, as is with many early Smash characters. Today, I'll be talking about what Mario would possibly be like in Smash if he was given a more modern rework up to the fighters recently released. Now, I'm well aware of what was trying to be done with Mario's moveset. However, I believe his job of being an all-rounded, basic character could have been done much better. Part of this, of course, is a result of Mario being in the original 12, who all have outdated, more generic, archetype-based movesets, simply a result of the time when they were made, being the first ever characters in Smash. But with all that out of the way, let's get into the first set of moves. Because of how much there is to Mario's history, I decided to try and make literally everything in Mario's kit a reference to something, no matter how obscure it is and no matter what spin-off it's from. Starting out, we've got Mario's normals. Mario's jab will remain as the classic punch-punch-kick combo from Mario 64. It's a great baseline reference and already works well enough to where I believe it should just be left as is, just for the sake of keeping at least one thing familiar. Next up, for Mario's forward tilt, he quickly gains a Tanuki tail and swipes in front of him using it. This move can even negate projectiles, causing them to fall off screen like in Mario 3. For up tilt, Mario raises his arms up as a star appears, spinning over his head. The star acts as a disjointed attack and hits multiple times before sending the opponent away. Then for down tilt, Mario uses the axe from the original Super Mario Bros. Bowser levels and performs a quick low slice with it. As a quick reference as well to what it was originally used for, the attack can even spike aerial opponents. And now, for Mario's dash attack, he leans down low and slides forward on one of the magic carpets seen in Mario 2. I wanted to try to keep these attacks still as simple as I possibly could make them, however with the added little bit of nuance that a lot of more modern Smash characters have in their normals. Now we have Mario's aerial attacks. First up would be Neutral Air, which is the Luma spin from the Mario Galaxy games. This attack has a bit of a longer startup compared to Mario's Olden Air, but it also has quite a bit more power to it, even being able to kill at higher percentages. As a bonus, the attack also very slightly boosts Mario upwards, just like how it can be used in Galaxy. I decided to keep Mario's forward area the same, because who doesn't like landing, you know, a good old forward aerial. However, with the exception of Mario now performing the attack using a hammer from Wrecking Crew instead of his fist. For Mario's back air, he quickly dons his cape from Super Mario World and does a quick swing with it behind himself. Mario's up air has him performing a quick upward punch, as if he were jumping up and breaking a brick. As a bonus, if the attack connects, then the brick break sound from the original Super Mario Bros. Can be heard. And then for down air, Mario equips a spin drill from Galaxy 2 and drills straight down with it, with anyone getting caught in the sweet spot being stuck on the drill until it hits the ground. Or, if Mario's off stage, it can even be used to perform an SD kill. Now onto Mario's smash attacks. First up we've got Mario's forward smash, which has been changed to him using his hammer from the Mario and Luigi games. Mario reels back holding the hammer over him, similar to the animation he performs in the games, before smashing it down. If a fully charged hit connects, then Excellent will appear on screen, just like when you get an excellent attack in the Mario and Luigi games. For Mario's down smash, he takes out a POW block before slamming it down, creating an earthquake effect on both sides of him indicated by shockwaves. This is mostly taken from the POW block's iteration in the original Mario Bros. Game, but it can really be from any game that has the POW block in it. Now for Mario's up smash, he uses Bomb Derby, a bros attack from Mario and Luigi Dream Team. Mario readies his hammer while holding his hand forward, with pink bombs stacking in his hand the more the attack is charged, going up to 3 bombs total. After releasing, Mario will toss all the bombs he has up and hit them with his hammer, sending them flying upwards a decent height. The bombs will explode at the peak of their ascent, or if they connect with an opponent. And now that's it. That's everything done with Mario's normals. Now we can move on to Mario's grab and his throws. If Mario lands his grab, he will pick up the opponent and hold them over his head, just like in Super Mario Bros. 2. with his pummel being him bashing his hammer into them over and over again. From here, using Mario's forward throw results in him tossing the opponent up slightly and hitting them away with a tennis racket. For back throw, I decided to keep it pretty much completely unchanged, as it's already a reference to something very iconic from Mario 64, but I did make the decision to also add in the equally as iconic voice line that everyone knows.
Bowser!
For Mario's up throw, he'll hold you in place as the Maker hand from the Super Mario Maker games appears, and essentially uppercuts the opponent by building a block tower underneath them. And then finally, if Mario uses down throw, he will toss the opponent straight down onto a Bowser space from Mario Party as they get sucked into it. Shortly after, the opponent is then shot out, with stars flying out of them. I guess they didn't roll too well in Bowser's wheel. Probably had to give him a few stars. Now we come to the real part of Smash characters that can make them unique, their specials. Firstly, starting out with Mario's neutral special, this one will remain for the most part the same, with Mario throwing a fireball forward. But now we have the slight change of it alternating between 3 different ball throws. Get your mind out of the gutter. First one is a fireball, next one is an ice ball, and then finally the super ball from Super Mario Land. The fire and ice balls each follow their elemental effects, with the ice ball even shortly freezing players at a higher percentage. But the super ball is a bit more unique, with it continuing to float through the air if it doesn't hit any surface, giving it the potential to go far off stage and even having a bit of kill power if used right. Now, onto Mario's side special. Mario hops into his default cart from the Mario Kart series as Lakitu appears over him and begins counting down, as if it were the start of a race. If the input is pressed again during the countdown, or if Lakitu reaches go, Mario will speed forward very quickly in the cart, with the speed and power determined by how long the move is charged. As a bonus for a full charge, if Mario is about to drive off stage, a blue paraglider ramp will appear, causing him to fly upwards and equip the paraglider on his cart, allowing him to both ram into targets off stage and glide back to the stage after. However, in this state, Mario won't be able to exit the cart until he lands on solid ground or if he's hit by an attack. Flood has now been changed from Mario's down special to his up special. When using the attack, Mario will equip Flood with the rocket nozzle on it and shoot upwards in a straight line. He can also deal damage to anyone he hits while flying upwards. Once Mario reaches the peak of his recovery, continuing to hold the input will cause him to equip the hover nozzle and float for a few extra moments. However, this comes at the cost of putting Mario into freefall afterwards, as well as draining any water that Flood has left. As a result, Mario won't be able to use Flood again for 20 seconds afterwards, a very hefty price for a bit of an extra recovery. And now we have the down special. This one may be complicated, so get ready, because it might be a lot to take in. I tried to keep it as comprehensible as possible since, this is Mario we're talking about. He's the basic character of Smash. But I thought that in modern day Smash there's quite a bit more nuance to many characters, so having that in Mario's moveset could actually be good preparation for other, even more complicated characters. Now then, on to what you were waiting for. Down Special is now the heavily requested capture ability from Mario Odyssey. Now, I know what you're thinking. No, you can't capture your opponents and have them SD off stage. As funny as that would be, unfortunately it would be a little bit broken. Instead, Mario will throw Cappy at a nearby enemy in the background to capture it. These enemies show up in a set order, just to eliminate any randomness that the move may have. The first enemy to show up is a Goomba. Quickly after capturing it, other Goombas will show up around Mario and form a Goomba tower. Mario himself will then lean forward, causing the tower to collapse and crushing anyone underneath it. The Goombas will also fly out afterwards, with a few of them acting as very weak, but still mildly threatening projectiles. Next up is a Taifu, allowing Mario to blow a strong gust of wind in the direction he's facing, sending opponents caught in it flying backwards. This would probably, I'd say, mostly be used for preventing recoveries from getting back on stage. It could be a little bit broken against, any character that has a crappy recovery. The third capture is the Coin Coffer. Shortly after capturing it, Mario will begin projectile vomiting coins like a Gatling gun as a rush of projectiles. If Mario is hit in this state, coins will also fly everywhere out of him. Then after that, we have the Poison Piranha Plant. Once captured, Mario will automatically shoot out puddles of poison all around him. These act as long-lasting projectiles, which slow up the opponent and deal damage to them for the duration they're in contact with it. For the grand finale of the captures, we have the iconic T-Rex, just like the one from the Fossil Falls Kingdom and from the trailer of Odyssey. This capture allows Mario to perform an extremely powerful ground pound, which acts as an AoE attack. I know that the T-Rex didn't actually use this in Odyssey, but I thought that an AoE attack would be different, at least, compared to the other captures. And you're gonna want to watch out for this attack, since it has both insane kill power and damage. However, Mario is stunned for a moment after exiting the capture, allowing for a punish if he misses. Now as for the balancing part of it, Mario will immediately revert back to normal from captures upon taking above 5% damage or after performing their attack. Mario will also have to wait for a meter shown above his percentage to recharge before he can perform another capture. The next captured enemy will also be shown down on screen to the opponent, so that they know exactly what Mario will be capturing next, allowing them to possibly prepare. Now I know that this sounds like it might undervalue the move a little bit, but trust me, this is just to ensure that the move is actually balanced and that Mario can't just, keep spitting out capture after capture to get the T-Rex and then use the T-Rex over and over again. Now we have just one thing left in Mario's moveset, the Final Smash. There are so many different options to choose from when you're looking for a Final Smash for Mario. Over the course of history, there have been so many games with so many great finishers in them. However, after long and careful consideration, and also probably a bit of bias considering it's one of my favorite games of all time, I decided to make it based off of the finale of Mario Galaxy 2. Upon activation, Mario will charge up his fist before slamming it down to the stage, causing a barrage of fireballs to shoot upwards from the ground. This could actually be seen as a reference to Mario's old Final Smash, Mario Finale. Now, if this initial attack connects, the opponent will be launched up into space and into a black hole, where Mario shortly after follows using a launch star. Inside of the black hole, Mario will ground pound a meteor, sending it flying directly at the opponent. The opponent tries to dodge a few of them, however, eventually a meteor directly connects with the opponent and bashes them backwards, resulting in them being completely swallowed by the black hole. Mario's original Final Smash was, in my opinion, definitely one of the most basic ones in the game. The reason for this 100% being very similar to Mario's original development in the first place, with it most likely being the very first Final Smash ever made for the series, and in a time where cutscene Final Smashes were few and far in between, since those didn't gain much traction up until Smash Ultimate, where the majority of the characters I'd say made for that game do have a cutscene Final Smash. As someone who is a very big fan of cutscene Final Smashes, I thought this would be a good pick for it. Well, we made it through all of Mario's attacks. Now then, on to his extra features, I'd like to talk about some new possible ults for Mario, new taunt animations, a couple new victory animations, and even a new Echo Fighter for him. For the most part, I think Mario's ults should remain the same. Most of them are a direct reference to something, even though a few of them are pretty obscure, especially the golf outfit, which most people have just remained to the American outfit. First up, I decided to replace Mario's black ult. I know that this ult was originally a reference to Foreman Spike, but in my opinion, it no longer has any resemblance to him at all anymore, with it being the bare minimum. So I decided to replace it with his vacation outfit from Mario Sunshine, a highly requested one from what I've seen. Next up, I decided to replace the Waluigi ult, and I'm sorry any Waluigi fans out there, I know that you're dedicated, please do not come to my house. Please. I decided to replace it with a Wario ult instead. I think it would make more sense for just Luigi to have a Waluigi alt, which he has already, and Mario to have a Wario alt, so that's why I decided the change was necessary. For Mario's taunts, I decided the majority of them are pretty good already, just like the alts, but I did decide to change one in particular. While Mario's taunt where he throws Cappy around him is a good one, I feel like it would work better as just an idle animation, so I decided to replace it with his end-level animation from the new Super Mario Bros. Games, where he performs a quick spin before tipping his hat towards the camera. I also decided to change two of Mario's victory animations, with the two in question being the one with Mario charging up a simple punch, and the other one with Mario charging fire in his hands. I feel like they were kinda basic, so that's why I decided to make the changes. The first new victory animation would be Mario jumping up and grabbing a star or a moon and performing an animation, similar to one where when you obtain it in Galaxy or Odyssey respectively, the other one being a reference to Mario Kart, with Mario driving through the finish line and getting first place, waving at the camera. Now, I wanted to talk about a possible new Echo Fighter for Mario. There are quite a few options, but I decided to go with Shadow Mario from Mario Sunshine. The other two main options I thought of were Paper Mario or Metal Mario, but in my opinion, Paper Mario should just be his own character with an original moveset, and Metal Mario would be a bit less ideal because of the metal box item existing already. I also just think that Shadow Mario is considerably more of a fan favorite and has more options to choose from. As a bonus, two of Shadow Mario's alts would be the Cosmic Clone, one with the Galaxy 1 design and the other with the Galaxy 2 design. I might make a completely original moveset for these guys eventually, but for now I think that they could just work as alts for Shadow Mario. As for the visual changes, any attacks involving Mario's hammer would be changed to Shadow Mario's paintbrush. This also applies to the forward tilt, changing the Tanuki tail to the paintbrush. Up tilt will instead have a shine sprite instead of a star. And for up smash, Shadow Mario would instead use bob-ombs with their design from Sunshine, instead of the pink bombs that Mario uses. Instead of the elemental flowers for neutral special, Shadow Mario would simply throw a single paintball. Each time an opponent is hit by the paintball, they would get covered in more paint. The more they're covered, the slower they get and the more damage they take, similar to the mechanic that the Splatoon characters have. For side B, Shadow Mario would instead drive the Brute instead of a regular cart. I pretty much only made this change just because it fits him better. For down B, instead of capturing an enemy, Shadow Mario will instead create a paint enemy using his paintbrush and then merge with it himself, controlling it with his hat on top. As for the throws, other than forward throw being the paintbrush instead of a racket, the only one changed is up throw, where Shadow Mario throws the opponent up before pulling a Dune Bud, causing a sand tower to pop up underneath the opponent. And now for the final smash. The startup would be the same, but with a giant splash of paint instead of fireballs. The opponent is then launched into a car on the Pinna Park roller coaster, with Mecha Bowser then launching a barrage of bullet bills at them. The car goes on a direct course towards him, where Mecha Bowser scorches the opponent with fire breath, with Bowser Jr. also helping by removing the Shadow Mario disguise, and breathing fireballs towards the opponent on top of Mecha Bowser, making this an almost father-son finisher. Now onto the final extra bit of stuff. For Shadow Mario's taunts, one would be him doing a raspberry with his incredibly long tongue seen in one of Sunshine's cutscenes. The next one would be Shadow Mario pulling out FLUDD and waving cynically at the camera, referencing the beginning of the secret levels. And the last one would be Mario putting his arms to his hips and laughing at the opponent, a reference to something Shadow Mario does in the chase levels with him. Now onto the victory animations. The first one would be Shadow Mario facing away from the camera before turning around and partially removing his bandana, showing a paint-covered Bowser Jr. staring at the camera briefly before pulling the bandana back up. Next is Shadow Mario using his paintbrush to vandalize a wall with his signature symbol, seen all over the game in Mario Sunshine, before he looks back at the camera with a surprised expression as his wanted poster is revealed off to the side. Finally, we at first see nothing of Shadow Mario at the start of this victory animation. However, he then quickly appears from the side, carrying Peach over his shoulder and running away with her. Well, that finishes off everything for both the rework of Mario as well as the surprise Echo Fighter inclusion of Shadow Mario. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. I'd love to hear what other possible ideas there are for a new Mario moveset, or even ideas for a full, unique Shadow Mario moveset. Heck, even ideas for a full moveset for any possible Echo Fighters I suggested earlier. This was the first video in possibly a series I was planning on doing, so let me know if you enjoyed the video and want to see more of it. That said, thank you for watching, and feel free to subscribe, I guess, if you feel like it, if you have the time to. I'll look forward to putting out new videos in the future. Bye-bye!